Greetings, Scorpio. This is your reading for this new moon coming up in a couple of days in Leo. So let's not forget to try and have some fun. Hopefully it's not too much of an effort. It's pretty miserable here. Being in the southern hemisphere, of course, we are very southern down here in South Island, Aotearoa, and it's very bleak. We're just having one of those things. I know there are wildfires, terrible fires going on in California and then over in Europe, and just some wild weather. And we are getting that ourselves, just on a different polarity, I guess. So anyway, these are tarot readings. They are intuitive readings. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, Scorpio. And let's get into it and see what the storyline is for you at this current time. And we do go through and clarify and pull a few other cards at the end. We've got the Queen of Pentacles coming out, very benevolent, very generous. I mean, all of those wonderful practical things the Queen really gets done. And with that, we have the King of Swords. It's almost like the sort of male, female, well, I mean, we can't go on gender, but you know what I mean, qualities. Female qualities, male qualities. The Queen can have very benevolent, strong male qualities, as the King can have very strong female qualities as well. Don't want to get mixed up in this, but so we've got that King of Swords, very precise. The sword royalty, you could say, don't have a problem with allowing their emotions to override their intellect. That is not their role. Their role is clear, concise discernment. Okay, Scorpio, let's continue. Clear, concise discernment. We have a Page of Cups. Page of Cups with a small emotional offering here. There's an emotional offering. And we also have Death, transformation. I mean, are you finding, Scorpio, that, or is it for some Scorpios out there that are amalgamating, actually, that are synthesizing, balancing the sort of masculine, feminine qualities or principles? They feel that they're sort of integrating those within themselves. Is this a transformation for you? For some Scorpios out there, remember these are very general readings, but I just say what I hear. So there is a transformative process. I do see that there's a softening of sorts. This Page of Cups is, it could be aspects of yourself, someone in your life. It's an emotional offering, and possibly an awkward offering. But nevertheless, it is an offering, And there's some transformational aspect to the pairing of these, the sword and the pentacle. Being incredibly practical in the material sense of the word, in the material sense, but also having this huge, acute level of discernment. Anyway, let's go through, Scorpio. Let's go through and clarify. Can we look at this this princess of this Queen of Pentacles. The Queen. It's as if the Queen and the King of Swords go together. Is there a conflict? Because I saw it as an integration. In the past, it's been conflictual. Now there's an integration of the... I do just get that quite strongly, even from the beginning, that maybe someone is going through a transition in terms of, gender here. Someone possibly out there is going through a transition. Queen of Pentacles, we get the 10 of Wands, a burden that needed to be released. King of Swords here. We have Judgment. In the Thoth deck, the wonderful thing, which amongst many other things, it's a very complex deck in terms of its symbology, but it does amalgamate, in fact, itself, or amalgamate, if that's the right term, Eastern tradition with Western traditions. Therefore, it is quite complex. But what was I saying? So we get the Eon. This is the Judgment card. The other aspect, that's what I was going to say, is that the Thoth deck, it's not seeking authority from elsewhere. It's actually seeking understanding where that lies within oneself. That judgment comes from your personal connection with source force, that connection point that is part of something bigger, but part of you are part of something bigger. This is your connection with that. And so we seek authority from that which lies within ourselves. Do you understand what I mean, Scorpio? Yeah. There's something about this. And we often hear with judgment, that all the birds come home to roost. There is there's been a decision that's been made here. And whatever that decision has been about, it is something that could not be ignored by you, Scorpio. The dragging a decision out was a burden. And so the making of a choice, of a decision, has been the release of your 10 of Wands, actually, has released you from that burden of drawing something out, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's look at the page of Cups. That's quite intense. Page of Cups, a small emotional offering. We have the Prince of Discs, the beginning of something, the beginning of preparing that bed, that garden bed. We're starting out here. We're releasing all the right chemicals, ideally say naturally, into the soil, because we're going to be growing something new here. It is about preparation. It's about releasing, preparation, because we're awaiting this. This is our path. We are transforming somehow within here. Oh, it's quite full on. So the Prince of Discs moves very slowly. It is a slow process. You can't speed up the growth. You can't alter the seasons to match what you would like to see at any given time, you know, unless you've got a glass house. Unless you somehow create a sort of slightly artificial environment, I guess. But so with this prince, we're really preparing that soil. And possibly at the same time, we're discovering whether this Page of Cups is an offering from someone else. It's an offering, actually, is it? To yourself. An emotional offering to yourself, Scorpio. Let's have a look at death, transformation. We've got one card here that popped out twice. So we've got two cards. The Five of Swords came out twice. And I kept shuffling, it came out again. It's a difficult card because it's a conflictual card. In it, we question. Look, there are times where we really do question our behaviours, why we do what we do. The other card that came out is the Devil, Scorpio. So we see the thought forms here, tormented in their little bubbles, right? Somewhat tormented. This card in the Thoth deck, though, is really about living life to its fullest, like really enjoying the fruits of this beautiful earth that we live on, the earth. Enjoying people, food, all of the sensory pleasures. It is a wonderful thing. This is interesting. We can also get attached to certain things. We can get bound. Codependency, you know, that's an obvious one. We get bound. We actually often get bound by what we created as a thought form can be just as real as a shackle. But it's merely a thought form. To me, in this reading, these cards, you know, the Five, it's disappointment. Self-disappointment. Well, in some ways, letting ourselves down. Now, I'm not saying through this reading that you're letting yourself down. I actually feel, when we're clarifying the Death card, that it's not you letting yourself down. These are old... these two cards, I believe, represent old aspects of what you have lived your life by, and they have come from others. I actually see it in that way. They have come from others, and the release of that, because I see these as really as bookends here. That burden, whatever that has been, Scorpio, is actually has these babies in it, right? And those burdens were, to a certain degree, the projection of others onto you. I do see that. You are transforming. you've transmuted this energy that you've kind of carried and then said, okay, I've just got to let go of this because it's not mine. It's actually others. It's others, people's. Whether that's family, friends, community, you've let go of it. It's a wonderfully strong thing to do for your own, not only physical survival, but emotional survival. This is what I'm getting. It's full on, Scorpio. So let's get a little Brian Frood, Pixie and Fairy Oracle. It's so it. And the thing is, dear Scorpio, you do have some good friends. You do have a large level of support. And this has been part of how you've got to this point. It's just phenomenal. Honestly, for Scorpios out there, remember, if this does not resonate, that is fine. It's a very general reading, and it's wonderful if it does. But just leave what doesn't, take what does. This is explosive. For some Scorpios out there, this has been this is a big kind of shift for you. And what happens? We get eruption. This is sort of like the Tower. What do we get from an eruption? Because when the ash settles and everything calms down, what do we get? We get a crystalline form of obsidian, which is like cut glass, black. You know, the great scrying mirror. The result of some hot lava hitting a salty sea. You know, this black crystal, clear, concise, pristine. That's what we get, Scorpio. That's what it's all about. It's a beautiful reading. I hope you enjoyed that, Scorpio, and on that note, take good care. Enjoy this new moon in Leo. Things are moving along. It's all about growth. It's all about transformation. Ka kite. Take care. See you next time, Scorpios.